And I literally pulled up my own Target receipts to be like, hold on, let me like look at this next to each other. And I was like, this is wrong.
Though is like I blame Amazon for almost everything, but Amazon has conditioned people to be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
My nanny shipped the wrong box, which in their defense, our cookware is very, very heavy, but their nanny shipped an old broken down AC and it didn't even work.
Settles down on everyone, and it's changed the complete mentality of like consumers, where it's like the customer is always right. Like, but I think that is shifting. Like the client is not always right. The most common fraud isn't organized crime. It's everyday customers, like the person sitting next to me, who thinks the system owes them something. In this episode, we unpack the psychology behind refund abuse, fake receipts, and the wild excuses customer support teams deal with daily.
How are you feeling today?
Good.
Yeah? Anything interesting in your horoscope by chance?
No, I mean, mom keeps sending me a bunch of like my texts with mom are just horoscope
Go for it.
updates daily, and
I get it, but have you seen the Fraudiac on yofraud.com?
I've not.
Well, you should check it out. It's your horoscope sign, but what kind of fraud you would do based off of it.
Yeah, as a Libra, I'm a coupon abuser, so I lied because I actually made, compared to popular belief of everyone, I made the fraud logic, whatever.
Interesting. I think this is the perfect segue into our two special guests from today, which are who are Ashley Harris and Nancy Gerd from Caraway. I think A, this conversation was so fun, but B, we really dive deep into what horoscope signs would likely do fraud.
Yeah, and just two of some of the best people, just balls of energy, just a ton of enthusiasm, and just always pushing the boundaries. Like, love chatting with Ashley and Nancy. And yeah, we're going to dive into horoscopes. What type of fraud sign is, what is an Aries? What kind of fraud is an Aries doing compared to a Libra, compared to a Sagittarius? Just calling it out, Sagittarius is do the most intelligent type and sophisticated types of fraud.
100%.
Yeah.
Sagittarius are number one.
There's no gun to our head by anyone or any
Named Nancy.
or no, just genuinely the most sophisticated fraud attacks are coming from Sagittarius. So
Absolutely. Other than the fraud, I would say horoscopes that we got to talk about with Nancy and Ashley, we really dive deep into their workflow, their processes, and what they see on the day to day. Like, does switching your name as a CX agent or leader make a difference when your customers chat to you?
yeah, and I think it's really interesting because like they have like experienced so much different types of fraud, right? From empty box, credit card fraud, chargebacks,
Photoshop.
photoshops, omni-channel fraud, especially with like receipts. And I think like Ashley has a great story with one of their like omni-channel partners. And I think it really just highlights like what are they trying to do to elevate the experience while minimizing fraud, right? And I think they're some of the best leaders where it comes from. It's not an either or decision. It can be an all-encompass solution.
Just as a general PSA, please do your warehouse workers a favor when you go to do a return. Let's not send food on a pan.
Yes,
I
no
think
food on pans.
if you really hate someone, like that just shows your moral compass to put like your burnt bacon on a pan. It's not fair.
It's not fair, but yeah, it's not fair. But when you look at like some of the stories from like Ashley and Nancy, it's really like showing how like as they tackled different areas of fraud, like new fraud areas popped up. And I think the interesting thing is like when we say this all the time, it's like you don't eliminate fraud. And also any vendor, including us, if we ever say it's 99.9% accurate or
It's not
99,
true.
it's just a lie, right? Anything in that sense. So it's also like, what are we seeing? How is it evolving? How are we catching it? And also, how are we empowering, Nancy and Ashley to actually drive CX across the organization? And I think they're two of the best who've been able to successfully
I
do that.
agree.
If this is hitting close to home, check out customerexo.com. Every episode, we're breaking down how to spot customer intent already sitting in your support queues. Because not all customers, not all complaints, and not all interactions are created equal. Nancy, Ashley, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being great partners and really just phenomenal people across the board. Unfortunately, for phenomenal people, there are less phenomenal people in the world that try to take advantage of things. Would love just to hear some of the biggest fraud stories you guys have experienced, and yeah, how did you kind of combat them?
The ones that keep you up at night, you know? You're tossing and turning at 3 a.m. and you're like, how did this person get away with this?
I guess I'll start. Hi guys, I'm Nancy, the director of CX from Caraway Home, and I think the one fraud story that keeps me up at night is my first ever fraud story because I didn't know how to handle it, and it was actually at a previous company. It was a jewelry company, and it was about a $3,000 order, and the customer sent back like a $5 jewelry set from like a 99-cent store. And I was so confused and appalled, and I didn't even know how to approach writing the email to them of like, "Hey, so we got your fake jewelry. Can't give you a refund. Do you want to send us the real stuff?" I didn't know if I fired them, and it was a startup company, so it was our first one ever. So I'm like there with the founders. I'm dumbfounded. Like, what do we do? Like, how do we even email something? Like, do I need to file a police report? It was honestly traumatizing for me because I didn't wanna do anything wrong, and that's back when, like, someone says, "Oh, like, I'll contact the attorney general on you," and it scares you because you believe them for just a quick little second. Then you find out, like, they don't actually really care about you. But I think that's probably my most, jarring one because it was the first one and I didn't know what to do. But Ashley, I don't know if you have a more intriguing one.
Hi, I am Ashley Harris, Senior Manager of Customer Experience at Caraway. I would say one that keeps me up at night, but like in a happy way, of which I'm very proud of myself for, was we caught actually at Caraway that some people were trying to go ahead and edit receipts from our retailers. So like this was specific to Target. Um, and I just so happened to come across a customer, and I was looking at the image, and I'm like, "I don't know, this font isn't right, like, if this is an online receipt." And I literally pulled up my own Target receipts to be like, "Hold on, let me, like, look at this next to each other," and I was like, "This is wrong, this is not right," and it was so funny because, after catching that one, then we caught, like, 4 or 5 other ones who had done the same, and so, um, it's always a good, like, pat myself on the back moment of fraud, which you don't always get, so a win is a win.
I remember that week. You were telling everyone, "Show me the receipts before you
Yeah,
answer the email," and you were
we
hyper analyzing them.
I was like, "We just dismantled a Target fraudster ring. I'm ready." I watch way too much SVU and Law& and Order.
No, I love that because I'm sure you like printed out the receipts and you're like highlighting this is like a sans serif font, this other one's an Arial, they don't match.
I was like,
All
"This is
Targets have the same
censored."
font.
I was like, those receipts are centered. Why is this off to the left? Something's not there's trouble afoot here."
Can I be honest on two things, or I guess one thing? I would love to see someone fake a CVS receipt. Could you imagine how long that would be?
Oh
I know,
my
like,
god.
CVS isn't a partner, but, like, that's, like, the Declaration of Independence long in a fake receipt, and so
Imagine that's how you know because it's not 8 feet long. You're like, "Nope, this is wrong already.
it's
I already know."
wrong, there's no 7 promotion codes on the bottom, there's no, like, if you come back, 5% CVS extra card. What's really interesting, and which I find really cool about this specific fraud use case you caught is a lot of people don't think there's automated scripts to fake receipts. And so you can buy a bot, and like this bot essentially makes fake Target receipts, fake Walmart, any type of brand you can think of. Just tries to make one for one counterfeit receipts and also sends you they'll like sell you the proper printing paper. So it looks exactly like the same print style in person, and these fraudsters are so smart, and it's like, what? You're trying to get a free pan or something from the warranty portion?
Listen, Alex, every time after I talk to you, that's what keeps me up at night because I learn about all of the new fraud and I'm like, "No, why? Why is this what people do in their free time?" But then also like, I mean, like I'm like, apparently it's fruitful, so
Kind of fun. It's fun for us because, like, what else are we gonna do? You know?
we
Like,
love a good Inspector Gadget detective, moment.
I wonder if people, like, will, like I'm not saying that your pans end up there, but, like, will go to, like, a Goodwill where someone just moves, try to find your pans and be
We
like,
do. We've gotten a few of those before.
Interesting. And then what do you guys do, right? Because it's like a dynamic between I want to give this person like their warranty or like the best customer service ever versus hey, we obviously know what you're doing here. The Goodwill 199 stickers on
Yeah.
the bottom.
I think even more than Goodwill, we see a lot of eBay resells. So someone will have their set for like 2, 3 years, go sell it on eBay, and we'll have people email us and they're like, oh yeah, like I got this set and it's used. I'm like, well, you ordered it from eBay for like 75% off. I can't really help you, but you chose this. And they're like, well, I thought it was new. And I was like, you should talk to the seller. Like, eBay has pretty good customer service, I've heard. I've also never bought anything on eBay because I have trust issues, but
Shout
that's just
out Pat Nealon. We love eBay. Yeah, we love their team. Great team. But yeah, I think it's just crazy, like the consumer expectation, where like it puts you all in a lose-lose. Where if you say no, the customer is gonna get mad and hold that against you. When it's
They
like,
remember us.
what do you yeah, what do you expect us to do because I bought it at Nancy G at eBay from like an eBay seller like. That's not like an us thing, right? Like, and I feel like that is the future of where it's going is unfortunately putting brands in a lose-lose situation, right? If you're wrong, you do this or you make a really bad consumer experience.
Yeah, and I used to play off of like my emotions. So if somebody emailed me and like they were going through something, their family was affected by X, Y, and Z, it would pull on my heartstring and I would be like, okay, let me help you out. I'll bend the rules for you. We'll go there. Until this one time, and this was Ashley before you joined, probably about 3 years ago, we had this woman create an entirely fake, like domestic abuse story that her husband had then died and then her dog died and then her family died and she ended up photoshopping like a picture of her in a cemetery and it was the most bizarre thing to try to just get some free stuff and we're like all we need is like your receipt and she's like well my house also burned down after all these people died and they bought it for us and there's no way for me to show you the pans and it was the most bizarre story and we ended up finding that she was completely fake and just sending false photos in a cemetery.
I feel like people are stupid. Like if something that bad happens, I feel like there's an obituary or like something related to it that you can Google. Also, don't use dead people's names. People can figure out that it's getting pulled. Like when you make a fake identity, it's pretty easy to figure that out. But what is the funniest? I mean, it's not funny, but what is the worst excuse you've ever gotten? Like, my dog died, therefore, please give me pants, or I have to pay for my dog's chemo, so I need the $750 back right now on a refund. Have you ever gotten something like that?
I think the most classic one I've gotten personally is just like my nanny shipped the wrong box. Which, in their defense, our cookware is very, very heavy, but their nanny shipped an old broken down AC. And it didn't even work. Like, at least send me a working AC and I'd be a little happy about it. I get that that's a heavy box and she probably had to lug it to the car. But we get a lot of nanny blames on our end. And it's just like, yeah, they picked up the wrong box and sent it. Which is just insane. At least I had an AC once. Typically, it's just like an envelope.
100%. We get the envelopes a lot, and it's like, "Sir, like, that's not easily confused. All of our stuff is, like, a decent amount of weight. There's no way that you would confuse the 2." Also, who puts, like, a UPS label on like, a little regular white envelope? Um, yeah, we get a lot of that. Um Or just like I honestly, I feel like nowadays people are either really, really elaborate or they're just like, "Yeah, I just don't want it anymore." And they, like, really give us the runaround for or they're like, "Yeah, it was crap, so I threw it out already. So I want my money back."
Oh, most bizarre one, actually, we actually have this one open right now. And
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
I think we sent it to you a little bit. It got deeper. Essentially, we have this woman who emailed us, and she said that her package arrived damaged. And we looked at the delivery photo from UPS, and the package is pristine condition, totally fine. She sends something that looks like she threw it off the mountaintop and it tumbled and completely broke down. And she sends us a picture of her airtight storage containers and she has a picture of them inside the box and then on her countertop, and she's trying to say that they shattered. I don't know about you guys, but when glass breaks, it doesn't hold form when you move it from a box to a table. So she was photoshopping the containers to have cracks in them in different places in her kitchen. And it was just like, there's no way you're moving this broken glass container and it's not falling apart and it's staying pristinely like together. That one has blown my mind.
What do you mean? When I move glass shards, they never fall apart.
Yeah, no cuts.
Yeah, ma'am, we're gonna need some photos of your hands. We need to see if there's any
Yeah.
glass in your hands. Like that's the only thing we can. I mean, it's just crazy what people think they can get away with too, and it's just like a bold nature of just like, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna do this, right? And you're gonna be. I mean, the crazy thing is like, the crazy thing though is like, I blame Amazon for almost everything. But Amazon has conditioned people to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, what do you mean? Like that works. Like we don't care. But like unfortunately that just settles down on everyone and it's changed the complete mentality of like consumers where it's like the customer is always right. Like but I think that is shifting. Like the client is not always right. Like when you Photoshop glass breaking, sorry, you're not right.
Amazon's even I'm not proud of it. What was it? Probably like 5 years ago. I was living with a partner and they were supposed to return something to Amazon for me. And they told me they dropped it off, whatever. I ended up finding the box months later, so I knew that they never got it. But I messaged Amazon and I was like, "Hey, like sent back this box about a month ago, still don't have my refund, like, where is it?" And they're like, "Oh, let me check with the warehouse." Agent comes back and they're like, "Oh, we found your box and we processed your refund." And like, you totally lied to me. You did not find my box. This was not ever passed off to UPS and you told me it was. So now I have a complex that like I can lie to anyone and they'll likely side with me. And I think that's what Amazon did and it's ruined everybody who online shops because they expect the most insane turnaround and just service for the wrong things sometimes.
I think that's a really interesting point, Nancy. People are always ready to jump the gun on a bad consumer experience, but never ready to talk about a good consumer experience. And anytime someone does talk about a good consumer experience, they assume it's an ad. Like, God forbid something goes well, right?
Yeah, they're like, "Who paid you to do this?" Like, that's always what you see in the little comments.
And I'm not gonna say what we did was anything extraordinary, but when they had the what was it, the fires last year in LA, and a lot of those homes were burned down, Caraway had a great initiative, and we actually emailed every single person that had purchased with us in the affected zones and offered to replace their cookware for them, just as a small one up, like they invested in us and we wanted to make sure that they felt safe. We didn't do it for any kind of like public praise, but I was personally, as a human, shocked that absolutely nobody made an Instagram post or something about it of like, Caraway really cares about their customers. They didn't even have to do this. Like, I didn't reach out to them. They reached out to me. And that was honestly a little disheartening. But we're gonna keep doing things like that because why not? We're humans.
Can I ask you guys a question on how you handle that from a fraud perspective? I know, like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Stanley blew up last year because a house fire burned down, but the Stanley
Yeah.
puppy remained intact. And then, like, every other person's like, "Well, my house burnt down today. Stanley, are you gonna give me money, and are you gonna give me a cup?" How do you guys handle stuff like that where it's like, you do something nice for one customer, and then everyone now has the same complaint?
I think what's really nice is the internet can help us do a lot of great, fantastic things. So for the Palisades itself, we really base that off of receipts and just verifying the addresses within it. If their neighbor reached out to us, we were like, you know what, yeah, we're gonna help you out too. Um, but to your point, Alex, we do get a lot of people that reach out in general and they're like, hey, like I had a house fire, X, Y, and Z happens. So on our end, we just do a quick 5-minute search and try to validate that the address was there, that the name on the house that's allegedly kind of down matches, and get some kind of proof. Sometimes we get people who will share their insurance paperwork with us, but that usually raises a flag before I even ask for it because they're providing it so willingly. But we just really try to take that human approach and find something to validate it without being taken advantage of. And back to one of my other stories, that woman with the cemetery photo, like, if it just gets too much of an elaborate explanation, that automatically just rings fraud in my head. I don't know about you guys, but I was raised that if you're gonna lie, keep it short and sweet. Once you start telling too much, that's when you get caught.
That's the most New York thing I've ever heard, Nance.
I have 6 sisters, so, like, we kinda learned from each other, But, like, you keep your lies short and sweet. When you build on it too much, that's when people know.
So you mean my glass shards moving and I have a different pot in a color you never made type of vibe is too elaborate?
And what I learned in class, if you're gonna tell a lie, make an embarrassing story about yourself where it's like, oh, I was like carrying the pots and I slipped on ice and it fell everywhere. And it's like that little bit of embarrassment makes it more believable, if that makes sense, rather than just doubling down and not changing, is wild.
Honestly, my life is a comedy, so all the time I'm always telling Nancy and I'm like, "I'm not lying. I need to do this, because I would be the one that all of that will happen to." Between myself and my husband, it's just literally I'm like, someone's playing whoever has our voodoo dolls needs to get rid of it. But I love how much everyone was prepped as a child of, like, how to get away with stuff.
Yeah, don't make eye contact if they call your name, and if you don't make eye contact, you're forever good, you just don't have to hear it. But, I think one of the big themes we're getting across the board is, like, no one would do any of this if it was in person. Not no one, sorry. A
Yes,
very, very, very small
I
subsector of
agree.
people would do it, right? And it's just like people feel emboldened.
we say that all the time too, like, we are, like, looking to expand, like, how our customers can contact us, and we talk all the time, like, a lot of people get a lot of, courage via email, but if you call them on the phone, it is like an entirely different person. The tone is different, what they're it's, like, so different.
They have phone anxiety. They can't believe someone's calling them.
And honestly, I mean, listen, I also have phone anxiety, but I'm like, "Alright, you're gonna call my bluff? Now I'm gonna call your bluff."
It was like, and I think I've shared this with you, Alex, before. We got this one fraud case where somebody ordered about 20 cookware sets to a random house and tried to return it, and none of the labels made it back to our return house. Big surprise. Um, and when we emailed them and asked them, like, hey, what's up? What's going on? They made this elaborate lie about how they ordered it for their frat house and the frat house got shut down. Like, I can't verify that, and like, I won't actually go on a deep dive on that. Obviously, I will. Um, it was a whole back and forth, so eventually I picked up the phone and I was like, "Let me call you." So I'm like, "Hey, Mary, like, this is Nancy from Caraway Home, here to talk about your returns and never made it." Hung up the phone, never answered us via email again, like, completely disappeared because she realized there was a human on the other side looking into this.
It's just, like, hilarious when you, like, face or confront someone how willing they are to be like, "I didn't do anything. My hands are, like, up." And I think, like, another CX company like, another have you guys do you guys know the Shark, air wrap thing?
Yes.
Flexstyle? Okay, so I think something really cool that Shark does is if your Flexstyle stops working, you have to get on the call with CX, and I think it is the coolest thing that CX has done where it's like, "Oh, you wanna say it doesn't work? Okay, great. Cut it in front of us."
I've
And
never heard of that before, but kind of
You know that
genius.
playbook, yeah. I'm waiting for the playbook to get out in all of those rings that you catch more bees with honey than vinegar, because there's just this one kind of pattern that will just ring an alarm for me is when they're super mean to you and like they're just attacking you and like coming at you with all caps. That immediately I'm like, why are you so mad? And it really just like rings that alarm versus like if somebody was just really nice to you, I'm more inclined to give that back to you. And at least if you're going to be a fraudster, like don't ruin my day, make it fake better.
I will say, what do we say all the time, Nancy? We always tell our team, we don't negotiate with terrorists. And so once they start like getting real nasty, then we're like, nope, like this isn't where we want to do a wow moment. This isn't like no, you gotta earn it. And you earn it by being a decent human being. In one of my past lives, I used to work in swimwear. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And it was just like collective or like obviously swimwear has pretty high return rates. We expect that. But we were moving warehouses and we were delayed in processing some returns. And so when we moved to the new warehouse, we like were trying to get an update on them processing like a ton of returns that they had. And the warehouse literally no and the condition of returns are that they have to be in unused condition. When they got to the warehouse and they went to go and review the returns, they were literally like that warehouse employees were throwing up and had to use gloves and masks because the returns were so bad. And you wanna talk about keeping you up at night. I'm like, "What is wrong with people? What are you doing that is what," like, I just can't. It was so bad.
And you know they were all adamant too, like, "Yeah, I didn't use it, like, that
I
wasn't
never
me."
used this. Yeah.
How bad must it have smelled?
I swear they literally were like, "There are employees here who, like, have to step away to barf because of the returns."
Because it's, like, damp sitting in a box, you open the box, it's like,
But again, right? Unused. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, there were other, yeah, that's a different kind of podcast, but it was pretty bad.
do you guys ever get boxes back where people cook in the pan and they ship you back, like, the food? They're, like, too lazy to clean it?
Oh, well, no, I thought you were meant like they were just shipping us food. I was like, "Wait."
We have a few like that. The one thing that sucks is like, well, it doesn't suck. Actually, we're super generous and we want everyone to enjoy their experience and not have buyer's remorse. So we do offer a 30-day trial, which means you can use the pans and ship it back. For the most part, people do clean the pans before they return it if it's just not something they want. You know, the natural human kind of nicety to do. But we have had some people that won't even like clean off their eggs and just, like, ship it back with, like, food in it, and the warehouse one time, I believe Ashley, again, this was before you joined. Candidly, I've been at Caraway for 5 years, so I have a lot of the stories. Um, we had the warehouse, and they were like, "Yeah, like, you infested our returns with, like, roaches because there were people shipping back, like, food in them." So it was really bad. It was a very, like, small moment for us, thankfully, but there were people that went that far, and it was just gross.
Do you ever have people cyclically try to do the 30-day policy? Where it's like, I'm gonna do it for a year, right? So, like, one on the 29th day, return, order a new one, 29th day, return, different accounts and more.
Not that we've seen yet. We do get a different type of fraud where, and actually, this is actually, I forget her name, but she's also an open case right now, where she emailed us, didn't like her ceramic pans, and we are like, okay, well, we think that you actually want this type of pan because, shameless plug, Caraway offers all materials for your non toxic needs. So you don't have to go to anyone else. Just come to us. And she was just not a ceramic user. We were like, you are a stainless steel girl. You know it. She was just like, no, I don't believe you. Like, okay. So we replaced her through warranty for her ceramic, and she comes back about a month later and she's like, "Okay, you were right. Like, I actually want stainless steel." And she doesn't want to return her other pan. She just wants more free stuff from us, and she's kind of trying to switch it around and take advantage of our attempt to satisfy her.
Yeah, we get that quite a bit. I would say definitely what makes it really fun is when people are doing all of this and they're using their work email and you just get like it's their full like LinkedIn and everything and it's like, come on. But these are also the people who are very quick to threaten us and we're like, we really do. Like, I will say, I've worked in ecom now for like 9, 10 years almost, and we are extremely generous. Like I told Nancy from the jump, I'm like, there was such a learning curve of like not being defensive of a lot of stuff. And we're fortunate enough that like I think for us, again, at least as far as we know, so far, the fraud is rather minimal based on some of the updates and workflows that we've done. But, like, we really do a lot, and so it's always such a, like, shock to me when people are like, "Oh, no, but that's not enough." I'm like, "I know we do more than most businesses, like, come on, guys, give us a bone or something."
You know, to your point with the emails, I just have to say, work-wise, the biggest fraudsters we've seen are, like, chief of staffs and VP of peoples. Like, it's always that subset of careers that, like, really try to take one over and use their personal emails, which, like, blows my mind.
And lawyers. They love a good threat. There's always gonna be a threat of, like, a class action or, like, "I'm gonna file this here." Anytime, another one of my past lives literally was, like, a subscription base, like, $5 subscription, and we literally had a lawyer sue us for a $5 subscription because they didn't cancel it in time, and we knew anytime we saw Esquire, in the email, everyone was like, "Okay, high alert, guys. Be careful. We don't know what's coming. And I would say even now on escalations, I would say a solid 30% somehow end up being some lawyer, or they say like, my husband's a lawyer, or this my close family friend is a lawyer, and I'm giving you 3 business days to respond.
Hopefully, the new fraud tactic won't be buying Esquire emails or EUSQ and like running up lovable apps to like make fake law websites. So, if that's the trend, we're calling it now.
Well, there's always a new trend, so I'm curious what our next one will be. I feel like we've ran through a lot of the typical ones, and we're due for something new soon. Hopefully not, but I think it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, and now everyone has a lawyer in ChatGPT, or it's just like, yeah, I consulted with my lawyer. Here's my PDF. And you're like, well, this is ChatGPT. I know how like the end dashes work. I know the formatting of this. Like if I type this in, it would do the same thing. Like, um, and then I guess like one thing I'm curious of is just like, how do y'all handle what you guys are doing day to day, where like the CEO gets an email being like someone had a bad experience and that was a fraudster, and how do you deal with that escalation? Because I know that's just like such a common pain point across the board. They get an email, right? Or like a yeah.
Talk about keeping Nancy up at night. Go, Nance.
I want to say, thankfully, like our founder and CEO, when he does get those messages, like it goes straight to me and Ashley. And if we let him know, like, yo, chill, dude, like this is nothing to worry about, he'll take our word and he'll know, and he believes and trusts that we have it handled. There are times where he's like, oh, why can't we do this for them? And it's like, hey, we can't. I'm telling you, we cannot. We're not gonna get into the details because we already spent hours on this, but trust us, it's handled. And we're blessed enough that that trust and just that kind of verbiage just alleviates any concern that he might have from those emails. But I kind of get offended. I want them to find my LinkedIn and message me, not the founder, like message CX. Try to get one over on me.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't do that more, because they could find you pretty easy.
I think they know you guys will say no, or they've already seen you guys in the emails in the chat, right? They've already seen Nancy or Ashley, and they're just like, I tried, my luck wasn't good, so I got to go somewhere else.
You know, you never know. This is why sometimes I use fake names, but even when I use the fake names, still wouldn't find Nancy. I was Sally for a while.
Oh,
Because if you're mad
is
at,
that your
yeah,
alias? I love
it
that.
was. Because if you're mad at Sally, and the thing with these fraudsters is they'll use like your name in the messages as like an intimidation tactic. Sally can take all of that. Nancy, I'll stay on the sidelines, but like be mad at Sally.
Sally won't shower cry.
She
Mm-mm.
won't. She won't take it personally.
Justice for all the Sallys.
I try to change it to like Dakota, but then people were being mean to Dakota. So I was like, okay, there's something with the Sally name that makes them.
Dakota, I feel like, is more masculine and it's easier maybe to be mad at a guy.
I think that's a fair hypothesis, Alex.
Well, I mean, we know fraudsters do target women as like customer support agents. They're more empathetic, they're more likely to listen. So yeah. Maybe that's a cool A/B test. Go from like Chris to Sally and see who deals with the most abuse.
It's interesting you say that, Jordan, because I have a theory too that for everyone who's into the fraud rings, there's specific fraud rings where you can kind of like hire them to commit it for you. And I think that's where the women are hiring the men to commit the fraud for them because like they can't be on that front line. Because it's typically that pattern we see. It's like a female's name, but it'll be the male kind of committing the fraud or trying to commit the fraud and going back and forth with us. And I've noticed that trend increasingly this past year with us, where they are kind of like outsourcing the fraud.
Yeah, and we're even seeing on those groups, so sometimes people call to verify. There's typically like a woman in the group that will just pick up the call and be like, "Yeah, my name is Sally," right? Even though it's like a man orchestrating it or actually doing the fraud, they still outsource it to someone to be able to just take the call.
Yeah, that's when their husband deals with it all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel comfortable, right? It's like, oh, you don't feel comfortable taking a call from Caraway customer support just to verify something for 30 seconds? Okay. Yeah.
At least it's not a full hang up. Those full hang ups really just hurt me a little bit because it's like, come on, let's play ball.
I'm not cold calling you. Like, I'm just trying to make sure this works for you, right?
If
Like,
you're doing fraud, you should have like the app to be able to handle a phone call back.
I agree. If you're gonna go in, go all in.
Commit to the bit.
Yeah, commit to the bit, exactly.
If you can believe it, fraud has expanded from checkout. It now encompasses returns, chargebacks, and claims. Willow protects your entire customer experience. Learn more at willow.ai. That was so fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Sagittarius does number one fraud.
yeah,
Clearly.
most sophisticated fraud type for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think just across the board, it's just their journey has been so cool. Just seeing how much like they've learned and how they've dealt with it, right? From like the fake receipts, the empty boxes, the credit card fraud, but seeing how they're always just pushing the boundaries, right? Like Caraway is always trying to get more people to consume their product. They're trying to just interact more and more across the board, especially with what they did with like the fires in LA.
Yeah, truly some of the most thoughtful CX leaders. I also think some of their stories are just so ridiculous. Like, if you're going to claim broken items, right? And it's glass containers and you're going to remove it from a product, the product's going to shatter from the box. Like, Nancy and Ashley are so smart that if you're going to try to pull a fast one on them, at least make it physically possible.
Yeah, like, and I think this goes into the notion of like, how are we starting to see AI more, right? Like people are photoshopping broken glass. Well, if you break glass and you move it to different areas of your
It's
house,
not going to stay.
it's not going to stay.
Show your hands.
Yeah, like show your hands, show how it's being broken. And I think it's just really interesting to see how they're evolving with the different fraud techniques. But I think the thing that I'm always just so impressed with them is just like how much they're trying to like think about the consumer experience, right? Like every conversation we have with them is like, great, like we're protecting against fraud. Let's continue to like, patch the new areas because you're never going to eliminate it. But like, what can we do to unlock better experiences for our consumers across the board is always underlining every conversation.
I couldn't have said it better. If you care about building a better customer experience, we got plenty more episodes like this lined up. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Shockingly, the customer isn't always right, but their intent is. We'll see you next time.